Craig holds out as his Husky deal might not be inked. Hey everybody, Walty Wanderers, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these crazy moto times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. Buckle up and strap in. I got a hard-hitting, pull no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows and sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. And friends, Christian Craig's deal with Husky, it might not be inked. Why, you ask? I'm about to tell you. And this is huge. This is super huge, in fact. This is so multi-layered. As an ex-industry guy, I love tearing this stuff apart, talking about things that other channels wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole because they're all connected to the industry. They've got to remain in whatever. Insanity. The realities are this, friends. Here's why I believe Christian Craig has not, in fact, inked his deal with Husky. Because he would have announced, it's on, it's done, it's a done deal, I'm riding Husky. Everybody assumes he was going to Husky. The realities are this, friends. It would have already been announced. Listen, Craig has an agent. All these top riders have an agent, someone like me, out there negotiating his deals. And the realities are, as an agent, if I'm representing Christian Craig or any of the riders for that matter, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to negotiate the biggest contract I can. Why, you ask? Because I love and care about the rider? Maybe. But I get paid as well. The bigger the contract, the more money I make as giving these riders agent representation. That's just the realities. So when you have all these new manufacturers headed in beta and all these other Triumph, like who knows who's coming in next? Like it's getting insane. Thank goodness we haven't seen electric motorcycles take over yet. I mean, can you imagine that? The gauge drop. Part of the gauge drop allure is the sound of a 2450s in a stadium. Wow, it's gnarly. If you've ever been at a Supercross event, you can relate. Boom, pyro goes off, gate drops, that first turn, everybody funneling in. That's the most exciting race in the world for me. Like I've always reported, Supercross is the most televised motorsport, only behind NASCAR. And its growth index showed it passing NASCAR until the governing body of the sport started to stifle it by fining guys and making the rule book bigger than a phone book and putting little KTM electric bikes on instead of craziness, freestyle motocross in the intermissions. It's boring. Intermission at Supercross now? I mean, I love little kids and I love mini bike racing and it's fun. Every once in a while they cartwheel and yeah, whatever. But when you see a guy go out and throw down some no-handed backflip or some fat whip that looks like he's not about to be able to save it and he saves it and brings it, whatever. Guys that you've seen on the internet now in front of you, that's what you want. So as much as I respect the little kids, it's all because somebody's getting paid. In this case, KTM paying to have these little races go on so they can sell mini bikes and hopefully big bikes later. But the reality is this, Fred. Christian Craig has not inked his deal yet, or he would have announced it. So his agent is clearly, or they're looking at other offers, possibly waiting for another offer, possibly waiting to see what happens with another rider with another team. Because the reality is, as much as I love Husky, maybe would you rather go ride for factory KTM or factory Honda or even factory Cowie, one of the bigger, more established brands that's been there for a while? Maybe. I think the Husky's obviously a killer bike. Osborne won on it. Anderson won on it. It's a good bike. You got Mookie as your teammate, apparently. Mookie's still there. Dean Wilson's out. It looks like this is a 99.9% done deal. Possibly while I'm reporting on this, it's announced Craig Husky. It looks like it's a done deal. But the reality is there's no presser. He hasn't announced it. That means there's still something going on behind closed doors. That means that we don't have a deal yet. That's just the realities of what's going on out there. I hope you understand. And I love Craig. I remember when I started MotoStar, I was at Anaheim 1, 2, 3, one of the Anaheims. And I was down at Track Walk with United Credential. I'm on Track Walk sponsoring riders, so I'm down there walking the track. Christian Craig, this was back in the day. This was probably, I don't know, a good 10 years ago. And he was probably, what's he now? And that's the other thing you got to remember about Craig. He's in his, 30s now? I think the dude's in his 30s. Family, man. If I'm his agent, I'm like, listen, Christian, we got to go for where the money is. Like, I know they're offering you a better bike with less money, but this is more money and a decent bike. And how many years do we really have left, Christian? I mean, let's just cut to the chase here. Christian Craig only has a few years left. So you got to think that's why this deal hasn't been announced yet, because if there's another deal coming or on the table or a negotiation for more money, he's probably looking at it. But I'm down on the track walk with my rider, MotoStar at the time, after my Triple X days, being at the height of the sport with Triple X. Now I'm dirt bagging it, bottom feeding, trying to sponsor riders with my clothing company, MotoStar, and I'm down on track walk. Christian Craig cruises up to me. Never met the guy. Didn't even know him at the time. He was a kid. Like I said, he was in his early 20s at best, maybe 19, 20 years old. And he's like, hey, dude, how's it going, bro? And so I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? And he was riding, I believe, with Troy Lee Designs at the time. I think it might have been a Honda team at the time with Troy Lee. Now they're KTM. And he was just a cool dude. And I was like, bro, right on, dude. Like, we were talking and just broing down. Of course, I tried to say, hey, dude, you want a clothing sponsor? And he's like, oh, dude, I wish. Look at all his sponsors I'm committed to. He's committed to a lot of, there's so much red tape. So for a lot of us, we see these guys as like, oh, they're riding for that. They got paid by that. No, this is gnarly. Anybody that's at this level, anybody you're seeing on a factory team has agent representation. Even some of the satellite teams, like if you're Brayton riding for Moto Concepts, he's not, you've got an agent more than likely. I wouldn't be surprised if Brayton's doing his own deals, but typically you have a legal team. There's a lot of contracts. Like, you can't just start signing stuff. You got to look at it. And with Supercross and motocross and in the moto industry, there's so many incentives. There's so many. Hey, listen, Brayton, we didn't get you a big guaranteed money, but if you hit the podium, check out where we're sweetening this up. A lot of performance incentives in these things. So with Christian Craig, they could be, negotiating some. His deal with Husky could be done. We're just down to ironing out any performance incentives that are in there. It's not just one number. This is your number. This is what we'll pay you, because then you have to have performance incentives with the sport like this. Otherwise, you're just taking the money and then sandbagging it, like maybe Ferrandis just did after winning his championship. Sat it out, didn't race. Oh, Barsha hit me too hard. I don't want to race. Still collecting a paycheck. You just never know. You got to read between the lines and look between the cracks. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as an ex-industry guy. Somebody wants to see not only win on the track, win off the track, understanding this is the dynamic, this is the politics of moto. It's getting deep out there. It's getting messy. I want you guys to continue to watch this channel as I blow the lid off of so much of it, and we'll continue to do that because that's what you guys deserve. If you appreciate the content, I do want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, I know you're going to like the next video coming into your screen at this time, and there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please keep it pinned today. I'll see you on the next video.